Modern man has a problem, and if left unchecked, it will destroy you. Now, never before in history has there been a time like now. Never before in history have men had access to pretty much an unlimited supply of images and videos of things that their eyes were never meant to see. And our inability to stop watching these things has become our greatest weakness as men. And if we don't do something about it, it will all but guarantee the destruction of your entire life. Now, I want to tell you a story. A long time ago, I had a period in my life when I was sitting around playing RuneScape all day, and I had all the trappings of success within that game, but in real life, something was terribly wrong. You see, I was using RuneScape as a way to escape what was happening in my real life, and like many of you watching, I had some problems at home, and my way to escape those problems was locking myself in my room and playing RuneScape. And along with the video games, I developed a really bad habit of watching things that I should never have watched on the computer. And at first, it was great, and I felt so good, and I felt so amazing after each time that I did it. And I would play video games for a while, and then I would switch back and forth between those websites that we really all shouldn't be looking at. And then one day, something happened that completely shocked me. Something that forever changed my life. And what happened was I had this friend of mine, and we had been friends for most of our life, and we did a lot of things that were just really fun. And so this friend of mine, we were best friends since like the second grade, and we even played RuneScape together. And then one day, while we were playing, we were headed to do one of the fun things that we always used to do within the game. But then suddenly, he told me he had to go. And shortly after that, he basically stopped playing the game pretty much forever. And this made me extremely curious because I wanted to know why he never wanted to do anything with me in the game anymore. And what I found out is that the reason why he stopped playing was because he had found a girlfriend. And so now his time was limited. And so instead of playing video games all day, he chose to spend time with her, and he chose to do other things that were far more important. And on top of that, he had found a job, and now he was making money. So my friend was basically moving on with his life while I was stuck sitting there with no girlfriend, no real value as a man, and with the greatest weakness pretty much that a man can have. And then the same thing happened with my other friend, and one by one, all of my friends stopped playing video games with me, and they started winning in real life. And as humans, we always try to ignore it, but you all know how it feels when your buddies are doing so much better than you. And even though I was happy for them, I was incredibly unhappy with myself and also with my own life. And eventually some of my friends started to actually tease me about it. And I'll never forget those extremely painful experiences that I had and the incredible amount of pain that was associated with them. Because one of the worst feelings in the world by far, especially as a guy, is seeing everybody around you pass you up and become more successful than you are. And it's 10 times worse when those people are your friends, your family, and even the people who you view as your enemies. Now, they say that you have to hit rock bottom before you can begin your climb to the top, and if there was ever a rock bottom, I had definitely hit it. And then one day, everything changed. I had decided that enough was enough, and I decided that I was not going to be left behind no matter the cost. And from that point, my life changed forever, and I never actually stopped my climb to the top. So if you're still stuck watching things that you shouldn't be watching, you're probably asking yourself, how can I stop? How can I finally stop doing this habit that is literally ruining my life? And I don't blame you, because everywhere you look these days, you see girls wearing barely any clothes. They do it on social media. Girls in the UK, and especially in America, sound like they're walking around wearing a baggy jumpsuit or something. So everywhere you look, it's extremely difficult to get away from it. And when you first try to stop, it's like everywhere that you look, there's a trigger or a cue. And what you guys have to remember is that this entire activity, whether we want to see it like that or not, is really just a habit. And a habit loop consists of a cue, a routine, and a reward. So everywhere that you look, there's always going to be cues and triggers. And so the solution here is, how do you resist the temptation in a world where everything has been turned pretty much into a trigger? Every ad on TV, every post on Instagram, every video on TikTok, how do you resist the temptation? And the answer is pain. You see, as humans, there is no greater motivational, transformative force than pain. And it's the pain of always getting the short end of the stick when we're poor that pushes us to do something about it. It's the pain of seeing our friends constantly leaving us behind in life when we know that we can do better, and that is what pushes us to change. Fear always has and always will be a far more powerful motivator than greed, which means it's not enough to simply imagine success, or it's not enough to simply imagine what your life would be like if you stopped doing that thing. The thing that is far more powerful is to imagine what your life would be like if you don't stop doing that thing. In order to truly change, or in order to truly eliminate a man's greatest weakness in this modern world, is to simply imagine the pain associated with what your life would look like if you do not stop doing that thing. Think about what your life would be like 10 years from now. Think about all the opportunities that you'll miss out on. Imagine your friends leaving you behind and going on to have great success in their life while you're still stuck sitting there playing video games and doing really unnatural things to yourself. Imagine how bad this thing that you're doing is messing up your life. Imagine how bad it's messing up your productivity and your goals. Imagine how bad it's warping your perception. See, I was doing it so much at one point that the only thing that I could ever think about whenever I saw a girl was exactly that one thing that makes all of us nervous. If the only thing that you are ever thinking about when you're around girls is that thing that you watch with the lights off, you're always going to be nervous. And the most common mistake that guys make is trying to imagine the positive things, like being successful and stuff. But it's not about imagining the positive that truly makes us change. It is fear that makes us change. It is the fear of being left behind by our friends and family. And the most powerful thing that you can do whenever you see a cue or a trigger is to simply think about how awful your life is going to be if you do not stop. Imagine how terrible it will feel to not achieve your goals and to remain stuck as a man who never gets the respect that he truly deserves. You see, we are in uncharted waters. Never before in history have men been in an environment like this, where they are relentlessly bombarded from every single angle with these insane thirst traps on Instagram, TikTok, and even within the video games that you play. Have you ever noticed that in so many video games, the females are made out to be almost perfect 10? And it's not just a coincidence that you have probably never even seen a chubby female in pretty much any video game that you have ever played. Never before in history has the temptation for men been as great as it is now, but never before have there been so many great reasons to stop. You see, it's easier now than ever before in history for a man to make a ton of money. It's easier now than ever before to improve yourself and to learn great wisdom and to become the man that you've always wanted to be, that you always knew you could be. See, for me personally, it took hitting rock bottom and seeing all of my friends pass me by while I was stuck playing video games all day and looking at the wrong websites. And it took me imagining every single time that I was about to do it, what my life would look like if I did not stop. But for you, maybe this video will be enough. Maybe after watching this, you will finally be able to stop this destructive habit, and maybe today is the day that your life changes forever for the better. And if you don't have this problem and you're watching this video, or if you don't have a man's greatest weakness, hopefully this video will inspire you in some other way. And with that said, until next time, thank you guys so much for watching.